Good morning, gang. Joyce with Skipping Cabs Farms here. It's Saturday morning, and is my recent pattern. I've moved the sheep off of the neighbors for the weekend. I'm so thankful that they make that grazing available during the week. It helps them not have to worry about mowing, and it helps me to save my forage for the winter time. I had an interesting situation. I had sent. I've done some other videos. I don't know if I've got it out yet. Where I had. Let's see if it's gonna. There we go. I apologize for that. Where this area right here, I had done some pretty intensive grazing and was planning to leave it sit fallow for 6 months. And if you look back over here, you can see across to the opposite corner, just the edge of the sheepfold. It's been there for a week or so. And so that's home for them for now. And they are familiar with this alleyway. But what I did today, I wasn't really thinking. Everything through, hint, hint, hint. So I brought the sheep down, and I was going to open them up into, and in fact did, open them up into this entire area to graze. Because the sheep and the chickens have gotten along together okay in the past. So I didn't think too much about it. Okay, there's daughter. Where's mama? And so I brought them down and let them loose. And they came down, and I walked them down, and they came down here and walked down here. And then I said, okay, well, they're out. And they're grazing. There's Mama. Mama's a little upset with me because I had to get a little firm with them. So, yeah, I kind of scolded them this morning. I probably shouldn't have. But, when they're where they, it's just like with your kids. When they're getting into what they shouldn't be getting in, you holler at them to get out, right? And so that's what I did. And I'm like, the reason they were getting into trouble was because I didn't child-proof it first. And it looks like I got a little bit of activity on my beehive this morning. That's the only hive I currently have. I tried to do a late split because, well, I won't go down that rabbit trail. I may say that for another video, but anyway, it's okay, daughter. It's okay, daughter. You guys just stay down here, okay? So I brought them down here, and then I went back to take care of the chickens. And normally I feed the chickens outside, and normally I give them a little bit of scratch. Well, I knew couldn't quite do that, but what I didn't know was as I was walking back, the sheep were following me, and they discovered the feed bowls that were left out from overnight that had some little bit of dust left in the bottom of it. And we had rain last night, so it was some really great tasting water. So all of a sudden, my sheep were not on grazing mode, they were on candy mode. Hey, big boy, how you doing, handsome? You taking good care of the girls, don't you? You take good care of the girls. And this one over here is Coppertop. She's an older hen, and we thought she was an Australorp, and it turns out she's at least part, we think, French black copper Marand. Although she doesn't do the chocolate eggs, there is a second generation coppertop bird that does. And anyway, so, and this little bird is one I call Little Bit. She got injured as a young pullet and could barely walk. And she's doing really well these days. I'm really proud of her. So, so they started getting into the bowls. Well, what I did was I just grabbed the bowls and moved them over here. Now, this poly braid is hot, but the farm they came from, they are used to hot wire, not hot braid. So I stuck those bowls just far enough back where they can't stick their head beneath both the braid and that lower wire. That's a permanent fence that I've put around this orchard area. And so, so I think, but in the meantime, I'm going, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I've created this monster, right? So, well, I got the bowls out of the way for that temptation. And I had taken a small bowl, and I wanted to give the birds some scratch. So early on, instead of throwing it out for the birds and having them have to compete with the sheep, I put it in a bowl and I put it under this pallet. Well, then the sheep came wandering back and they started getting real nosy, and then I realized I'm going to have to do something a whole lot better than this. So I went over and grabbed some step-ins, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a wire at 5 and a wire at 6. That's the birds. The birds are used to going under a wire at 5. Usually the sheep have a wire at 4 and 6, but at 5 and 6 they'll still be able to understand that this is not their space. And so I brought a mini reel, grabbed a handful of step-ins, and I'm just gonna do a wire, incorporate where they've seen food before, which is going to include that pallet area, and then bring it around, bring it out here. Now I have this small cage because this one chicken, she will not stay out of the laying boxes. She'll go in there and stay there all day. She'll sleep in there at night, and I have not been able to break her of being broody, so I'm putting her in what I call my He-Man cave. My original rooster was really aggressive with the girls, and so I had to put him in a He-Man cave several days every week so he wouldn't overdo his welcome with the girls. So so what I'm fixing to do right now is I'm going to set up just a little enclosure here. In the meantime, while I was doing this, before I had these posts here, I grabbed a pigtail that I had in this vicinity that I had used for doing my soil testing, grabbed it and used it to hold the door closed real tight because there's feed out inside the chicken tractor. Move the bowl in behind the roost and then close this down. And look who's come over here. Go on, out, out, nope, nope, nope. So gang, I'm gonna have to get back to business and get them out of here. And get my wire up so I can get my birds settled. And then we'll see what we got. So the one challenge about having really well socialized sheep is sometimes they're really well socialized when you don't want them to be. And as you can see, Mama is using that downed oak as a proverbial back scratcher. Oh my goodness. Crazy critters. Look at her rubbing against that tree. That tree survived a tornado, but just barely. Hopefully she'll survive Mama as well. With that, gang, I'm gonna let you go, and I will talk to you later. Keep blessings for the day and keep chasing the dream.